Change. A word that can make your chest tighten. Sometimes change is planned, a move, a new job, a baby, but sometimes change hits you like a wave that you never saw coming. Illness, loss, a breakup, a redundancy. One day you think you know where you're going, and the next, that map is gone. It's vanished. Today, I want to talk about how you can cope when everything changes. I don't want you to just survive change, but I want you to actually use it to grow, use it to make yourself stronger. I'll share one of the hardest transitions I have ever faced related to my health. We'll look at what happens in the brain when your life shifts under your feet. And then I'm going to give you a tool, one that turns chaos into clarity, a tool that is different to my 3 rules of resilience, a tool that is more digestible, one that's actionable, and one that you can use today to cope when everything changes. Hey team, it is your coach Bart Walsh here, and welcome to Built Resilience. This is a show built specifically for you, people who want to level up their mental, emotional and physical resilience. It's a show that's based upon the questions that I get every day after my keynote presentations, questions that need to be answered and finally have a medium to do so. If it is your first time here, welcome to the family. It is so good to have you here. Where have you been? We have been waiting for such a long time. Welcome to the community. If you do enjoy what we're doing here, if you do take things away from what we're doing here at Built Resilient, do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you are listening this to on. It goes a long way in getting the message out there more. And it goes a long way into making this world a better place through your actions. So thank you if you're new. If you know how we roll here, bloody good to have you back as always, team. Now, we're talking about change here. This presentation is a bit more pointed to what I was normally planning to do, because I did a presentation a few weeks ago for a life insurance broker company, and it was all about change. Their organization was going through so many changes. Technological changes, organizational changes, process changes. And I came in and delivered my presentation, shared my story, but I still want to talk a little bit more about how I can help with this topic more acutely, hence this new framework, hence this episode. And so don't get me wrong, this can be used in times of absolute, utter, life-shattering chaos, but this framework can also be used for minor inconveniences that you can then flip to make your life better. Now team, without further ado, let us talk about change. A few years ago, I went through a season where change was not my choice. My body, as much as I didn't want it to, it was failing me. I'd just been told that I had a condition called Charcot Marie Tooth Disease, a neurological condition that slowly steals muscle strength from the extremities, namely my toes, my feet, and soon to be my fingers. I remember walking into the neurologist's office and trying to stay calm. I knew something was wrong. Something in that room was different. My gut was telling me, and I was nodding along like I understood everything that she was saying. But the moment she dropped this diagnosis on me, my world changed, and all my feelings, they caught up with me. The world felt smaller almost immediately. I thought about my kids. I thought about my training. I thought about my fitness. I thought about my career. Everything that I had built my identity on felt suddenly fragile, like a carpet was being ripped out from under me. And that's what real change does. It shakes your foundation, it tests your roots. And the scariest part wasn't necessarily the diagnosis, it was the question that echoed after it. Who am I now? For months I fought the change. I pretended it wasn't happening. I trained harder. I worked longer. I tried to outrun something I could not control, but the truth was, the more I resisted, the heavier the burden became. And then one night in the gym, after pushing through a workout my body clearly did not want, I collapsed on the floor and I struck a smile. I stared at my reflection in the ceiling once again. Not because the moment was funny, but because I finally saw the absurdity of what I was doing. I'd been trying to stay the same person in a world that had already changed. And that night I decided to do something different. Instead of resisting change, I would learn to work with it. And so why does this change in almost any capacity feel so hard? We know humans are hardwired for habit. We know we're hardwired for ritual. And I do believe in a modern day world, we are tied to this comfort of habit even more, so that when something does happen in our almost perfectly curated, comfortable world, our nervous system reacts and we go into fight or flight. But here's what's happening behind the scenes. Your brain loves pattern. We know this. It craves predictability. Every habit, every routine, every role. It's all a part of the mental map that says, hey, this is who I am, and this is how the world works. And then when change hits, bam. Even good change, it tears that map up. It takes it away. The brain interprets uncertainty as danger. So your amygdala sounds the alarm. The flight or fight portion of your brain, it cranks up. Cortisol floods your system. Your body tenses literally and figuratively, and your mind races to restore order. And that's why you double down on your old routines, and that's why you replay what-ifs in your mind. You're trying to make a clearly new world look old once again. But the truth is, change is not the enemy. Resisting it is. It's like standing in the ocean trying to hold back the tide. You can fight it until your arms ache and your body is sore. Or you can simply learn to float. And floating doesn't mean giving up. No, no, no. It means adjusting your posture so that you can stay above the water so you can breathe. So whenever life does flip that script, I use what I call the 3-stage shift, very similar to the 3 rules of resilience. It's a way to move from resistance to acceptance and then, most importantly, to agency. And step number 1 is called naming what is gone. Most people skip this part. Most people's defenses go up too high, too fast for them to even say the word of the thing that's happening to them. But you can't move forward without grieving what you've just lost, even if it's just a version of your life that you thought you'd have. Say it out loud. I miss the old job. I miss feeling strong. I miss how things used to be. Naming it all of a sudden validates it. You're giving the loss language, and that's how healing can start. It's the same philosophy as closing your loops, if you've been listening to this podcast for long enough. Closing your loops simply takes the woo-woo and esoterics that live in your brain and puts it on a piece of paper. It's a very fast food way of journaling. You get the thought, you put it down, you close it, and you give it a space in reality. It's the same when we're going through change. I miss my old job. Even though it seems very woo-woo and very esoteric, but saying it out loud puts it out into the universe. And that changes your body, it changes your physiology, it changes your nervous system. It gives you validation, it gives you a step forward so you can start building momentum to turn this pain into your power. So naming what is gone, step number 1. Stage number 2 is all about accepting what is. And acceptance, it's not approval. It's simply telling the truth. This is happening. I can't control it, but I can choose my response. And when I finally accepted my condition, my Charcot Marie Tooth, something really powerful happened. My energy, it stopped leaking. It stopped leaking into denial and started flowing into adaptation. I could all of a sudden train smarter, not just harder. I could focus on what still worked instead of what didn't. And accepting what is the start of the process of changing your internal dialogue, changing your brain, changing it from a state of defense and defiance into growth and adaptation. So we name what's gone. We then actively accept what is. And then finally, we decide who you'll be now. The best stage and the funnest part. And this is where your agency returns. The question then becomes, given this new reality, this new me, who the hell do I want to be? Who do I want to become? And maybe the change wasn't your choice, but your response always is your choice. Remember that. You can always control your thoughts, and then you can always control your actions. This is where the strength lives. It's in the space between what happened and what happens next. I want to reiterate these 3 points for you, these 3 stages. We name what is gone. We call it for what it really is. We stop living in a life of denial. We stop blaming other people for what's happening to the changes in our lives. We name it. We then accept what is. We accept the change that is in front of us. I miss this. I really wish I had that. And then finally, we decide who you'll be now. And ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. You can be whoever the bloody hell you want to be. And so to really hammer this down, I actually want to do a journaling activity with you right now. If you are listening to this in a car, please do not stop your car and do not write while you're driving. Very, very dangerous. But if you're at work, don't tell your boss, or if you're at home, grab out the pen and paper or grab out your phone and let's do a quick journaling activity. Let's start this wave of change, adaptation, now. Grab your journal, grab your phone. I want you to take 2 minutes or less, whatever you've got, and answer these 3 questions honestly. Question numero uno. What part of your old life are you still clinging on to? It could be past friends. It could be a past identity as a footballer. It could be that hobby that you know you need to let go of. Hey, it could be an ex. It could be a past relationship. Name the thing that you're still clinging on to. Question number 2. What truth have you been avoiding about your current situation? What is the hard thing in your life that you cannot digest? Maybe that truth is, hey, I am getting old. And I need to look after my body and treat it how it deserves to be treated and not think it'll just bounce back like in my youthful days. Or perhaps that truth is you don't want to be an executive anymore. That you love the power, you love the title, but it is killing you. It's far too much work, it's far too much stress. What is the current truth you've been avoiding? And then the third question is, who do you want to become through this change? I want you to visualize. Who is that person? Are they a leader? Are they a leader of industry and community? Are they compassionate? Are they trustworthy? Are they loyal? Do they have integrity? Who is the person that you want to become? And I don't want you to overthink this. I want you to let it pour out. Here are a reminder of the questions. What part of your old life are you still clinging on to? Number 2. What truth have you been avoiding about your current situation? And number 3, who do you want to become through this change? When you see it on paper, I can guarantee you things will shift. You'll notice something. You'll notice that clarity lives on the other side of honesty. And ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to be honest. And now let's bring this down to earth just for a second, because we were way up in the clouds with that. I love that stuff, team. I love journaling. I want you to imagine someone who's just lost their job. This may or may not be you. One day, they're a part of a team. They're respected, they're busy, they're needed, they feel like they have purpose. And then the next, they're packing a box of personal things, walking out with a cardboard reminder that the world has moved on without them. In stage 1, naming what's gone, they admit what most people are trying to bury. It hurts, it seems unfair, absolutely. There's shame in it, definitely. There's pain, there's fear. They miss the structure, the banter, the reason to get out of bed in the morning. But pretending it doesn't sting doesn't make the situation easier. It just pushes the pain underground where it grows heavier. This is a particular message for my boys out there, for us gentlemen, the men. We push it down, it doesn't go away. It just beds into our foundation of emotion. And then comes stage 2, acceptance. This is where the mind starts to loosen its grip on it shouldn't be this way. It shifts towards, but it is this way. Acceptance is not passive, it is clarity. It's the quiet courage to face reality without sugarcoating it. It's honest. It's the trust that you want to get, the personal accountability that we really should be giving ourselves at all times. And then this person says to themselves, okay, this is happening. I can't control the decision that was made. It's out of my power. But I can control what I do next. And then they move on to stage 3, which is all about agency. Who do I want to become? They ask, given what's changed, who do I want to be now? Maybe they start freelancing or open a small side business they've always lived in the back of their mind. Maybe they take a few months of rest to rebuild their energy. Maybe they reskill and find a career that feels more aligned with who they actually are. And the point is, in this scenario, this case study, the process, it holds up. It's not about the job. It's about your identity. It's about your perception of that identity. And this 3-stage shift process applies to someone navigating a breakup, moving cities, or even facing a health diagnosis like yours truly. Whatever the story, the framework is the same. Honor what's gone, accept what is, decide who you'll be now. Because change does not discriminate. It visits all of us. What matters is who we become when it knocks. And look, I think that there is another benefit of change that we often don't think about. Change, it doesn't necessarily erase you. It kind of reveals you. It peels back everything that was temporary, the routines, the titles, the occupation, the version of yourself that relied on things staying the same. And what is left is real, it's honest, it's raw. What's left is what can't be taken away. When everything falls apart, you meet the parts of you that do not fall apart. You meet your foundation. You meet the creativity that you've been shoving down in pursuit of something else. You meet the things that you have deprioritized, that you deeply, deeply value. It brings you back to who you are. And look, change can feel like loss, because in some ways it is. But do not ever forget, it is also creation. It's life rearranging itself to show you a new layer of who you can be. Every time you have said, I can't do this, and then somehow did, that was change revealing you. When you stop fighting the tide, you realize you were never meant to control the waves. You were meant to learn how to move with them. And the moment you stop trying to go back to who you were, you make room for who you are becoming. That is the beauty of change. It is proof that you're alive. Stagnant things don't grow. Living things adapt. Living things get stronger. You get stronger. So here is your challenge for the week, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to notice one area of your life where you are resisting change, where your defenses are up. It could be your health, it could be your friendships, it could be your relationships, hey, it could even be your career. And it doesn't even need to be a big dramatic moment. I want you to start small. I wish I had $1 for every time I gave that advice. Start small. Maybe it's a new system at work that you keep complaining about. Maybe it's your kids becoming more independent and not needing you in the same way. Or maybe it's your body getting older and you're not recovering like you used to. I want you to catch yourself in the moment of resistance. I want you to pause. And I want you to ask, what am I trying to hold on to here? You'll probably find it's not the thing itself. It's the comfort you have given it. And then I want you to walk yourself through the 3-stage process. I want you to name what's gone. I want you to say it aloud. I want you to accept what is, the part that you can't change. And then I want you to decide who the hell you'll be now. Because team, life will keep changing. It will. And the goal isn't to hold it still. It's to keep growing inside it. And when you can do that, when you can look at change and say, all right, I'm ready to see what this version of me can do. That's when you stop coping with change. And that's when you start owning it. Team, my name is Bart Walsh. This is Built Resilient. I do hope you use that 3-stage framework in times of crisis, in times of chaos. Just like the 3 rules of resilience, when you execute these things with a relentless consistency, your life starts to change, your nervous system starts to change, the way you see the world starts to change, and you realize that every bad thing that happens to you, quote unquote bad, is actually an opportunity for strength. It's an opportunity to grow. As mentioned at the top, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you are listening this to on. Every little input really helps us boost us up those ranks and get this message out more. If you've got to contact the show, if you've got a topic, if you've got a question, if you've got a comment, anything, you need to write it in the comments of the YouTube video or write in at hello@bartwalsh.com.au. Tell me your stories, give me context. I want to get to know you guys the best I can so that I can provide content that will help you in every season, every stage of your life. Timo, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, and always remember to choose resilience. Bye.